Okay, I think I'm back. Okay, I think I'm back live. Hopefully this is working. Sorry about that. I ended up receiving a phone call and it interrupted my broadcast. So, I think what I was talking about was how it was showing up for me in my own life. I think I just want to give some kind of blanket examples of letting love be your guiding force. When many of us are making decisions from a place of fear, oftentimes it looks like us making ourselves small. Or if you're joining me live, feel free to say hi in the chat. But sometimes it looks like us making ourselves small in order to fit into society in some ways, or hiding our gifts, or not honoring our desires, or not honoring what's true for us in the present moment, or honoring our hearts, right? It usually looks at like some force or some way of us looking or making decisions from a place of fear, right? And so when I'm talking about letting love be your guiding force, it's really about making decisions from, if you knew that you were source made manifest in human form, God incarnate, a fractal of source, a fractal of God, a fractal of infinite intelligence, how would you lead your life, right? From what place would you make your choices and decisions? From what place would you move and maneuver your life, right? And it's really radically different from how most people on the planet live, right? I don't really want to talk about that anymore. I just want to talk about this state of consciousness that's been available to many of us, that's available to, has been available to us for time immemorial, but most of us don't live from this place. But we have access to living from a state of love, or above, a state of just infinite knowing of who you are. It's really a different place of operating your life from, because it's no longer letting your foundational principle of how you lead your life from moment to moment or day to day from a place of fear, right? And so how this can kind of show up sometimes is it can kind of show up as though you're going against the grain. It doesn't always necessarily, but sometimes it can show up as you doing something that's not necessarily according to societal standards, or, like for example, let's say you got a raise or you got a promotion, and maybe listening to your heart and soul, moving from a place of love because you're tuned into who you truly are. You feel guidance to take a week off, a vacation with your family, right? And maybe taking that week off to the outside world would be like, well, you just got a promotion. Shouldn't you like go balls to the wall and now prove yourself to everyone out there that you deserve this promotion, right? It might be, like that could be an example, right? Or it could be, I just really need some me time and this intuitive nudge to go, book an Airbnb and, a remote village and whatever, or, just taking a weekend vacation for yourself, or really taking some time to, taking a week off of work or something, or a week off of your business, and, taking some time to do like a sabbatical, right? Or whatever. It doesn't always have to do with taking off time, but I'm just saying, like, it can look like many different things to the outside world that might not like go with what society says you should be doing, right? Making decisions to, according to, this kind of showed up in my life, but according to society, you're supposed to have X, Y, and Z and all this other stuff like that, and making a decision to do things a certain way that might not look like how society says it should look, right? You should have, 2.3 kids, a husband, a house, a car, all this other stuff, right? And if you don't have those things, then you are not valuable in society's eyes, right? So when you're awakened and you're living according to your heart's guidance, it doesn't necessarily and you're moving from a place of love, it doesn't necessarily always mean that you're going to move in how society says you should move. But it doesn't also always mean that you'll be contrarian either. But I'm just saying sometimes it can show up in different ways. And I kind of want to just, not that you need my permission, but give whoever is resonating with this message, you permission to allow yourself the freedom and the fortitude to actually move from your heart, move from this force, this guiding force that's always here, versus moving from lower level energies of something bad will happen if I XYZ, right? And the way in which you do that really is starting to sort of and I don't like to say reprogramming because now it makes it sound like it has to be work, but it sometimes you do have to get into that a little bit of the sort of habitual rituals sometimes, especially if you're inundated and you're immersed in fear all the time and like fear is your predominant state of being. Reprogramming and doing certain rituals can get you shift your consciousness to where you're upgrading your consciousness, you're upgrading your your genetics, right? You're upgrading the way that you look at the world, the way that you operate in the world, right? You're upgrading your consciousness really. And so how you do that is really just starting to peel back the layers of all the shoulds and the shouldn'ts that might have been placed on you yourself by others, people, or by yourself, right? And sort of allowing yourself to really get quiet and still and really, asking potent questions like, what do I like? What does my heart and soul really desire for me to XYZ in this area of my life, right? Whatever area of your life, start with the area of your life that you want to change, right? And because usually those parts of our lives that we want to change are really sort of gateways into higher states of consciousness. Little do we know. But usually like whatever area in your life that you're wanting to change, it's usually literally like a gateway into deeper levels of spirituality, deeper levels of awakening, deeper levels of recognizing who and what you truly are. So start with whatever area in your life you're feeling stuck or stagnant in and ask potent questions to your higher self, to your divine team, to your inner guru, to God, to source, infinite intelligence, and ask, what is my heart calling forth or my soul calling forth in me in this area? What clarity can you give me in this area? And start to listen to whatever way the messages come to you. It can come through any of your clairs. For me, I'm very clairaudient, but I can see visions. I have dreams with messages. I kind of experience them through most of my clairs, but mostly through vision, hearing, and sentience and knowing are usually the four predominant ways that I receive messages. But start to tune in to how do you receive messages, right? So one, before you start to determine like what area you want to start to shift in your life, figure out what ways do you receive inner guidance, right? When you're getting messages from your higher self, from your soul, what ways do you normally get them? And then just sort of make a mental note or, write down that, right? And then now look at your life and do sort of like what I like to call a life audit. If you definitely want to check out my life planner, I'll put a link of that in the description box below as well. That can help you sort of get clarity on this as well. But just sort of do a life audit and be like, okay, what area in my life am I really wanting to shift and change? And that makes me feel uncomfortable, that I want more expanded awareness on, that I want to shift and move out of, that I want to change the situation into this, right? And then take that and then ask some questions towards helping you to uncover what it is. And then let the guidance come to you in whatever form or way you receive that feedback, okay? So I hope that that's been helpful. In understanding the power of love and the power of these higher states of consciousness. That's the next thing that I just kind of wanted to share, is when you recognize this higher state of consciousness, right? Letting love be your guiding force becomes sort of just your new modus operandi, right? it can look and feel like what you just moving in the world, right? And decisions are sort of being made for you without you having to even try. Okay, so that's like higher states of consciousness where you just find yourself moving. It's almost as if you saw like, you know, ducks in a pond or a stream, and they're just naturally finding themselves moving, or you see birds flying and it naturally, you know, follows the wind, right? It's just sort of like, it makes me think of that Pocahontas scene where she's like, you know, have you da the wind, right? And she's like letting the wind carry her. It's this sort of like effortless motion, the stream of consciousness, the stream or effortless flow. I always feel like there's a flow to life, right? And when I say there's a flow to life, I feel like there's a natural innate blueprint that we each have, that our souls naturally each have. And when we start to let love be our foundational point, set point from which we make our life decisions and from which we move in our day-to-day lives, we start to allow more and more of this higher states of consciousness to evolve in our lives, right? Where we're no longer moving and making a decision, our day-to-day decisions, from a place of stress, strain, or struggle. We're making our day-to-day decisions from a place of what flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, right? And you really can't do that unless there's a deep level of trust, and not even trust, it's this inner knowing that your well-being is always assured. And that's sort of like those higher states of consciousness. When you're in the higher states of consciousness of love, you know, gratitude, appreciation, compassion, joy, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, there's a sense of well-being that it's hard to describe. You've maybe if you know, grew up in the Christian world, you've heard that saying, the peace beyond all understanding, right? It's this sense of inner knowing that no matter what life, quote unquote, throws your way, because you are technically the creator of your reality, right? So life doesn't throw anything your way per se, but no matter what arises in your life experience, like, you good. Like, there's nothing that you can't like traverse, nothing that you can't expand from. And you start to look at life in a way of, oh, look at that, that's interesting, this is arising, or I wonder what this is here to teach me, or I wonder how I'm going to expand or grow from this experience, or I wonder what this is here for, right? And instead of life feeling like this constant struggle, or this constant like, oh God, I have to do this, or oh God, life sucks, or it's more so it becomes this place of joy, and not always like, oh, I'm always high and excited. It's not that. It's more so like just peace and this inner stillness of life is always going to be okay, no matter what is happening in my life, right? No matter what is going on, you know, shit can hit the fan and I'm still Gucci, or my life is actually really freaking peaceful on a day-to-day basis, and I'm so grateful and blessed to be living this life, right? So whatever that form takes, right? That's where, you know, letting love be your guiding force, I feel like helps you to get more to that peaceful place where your life starts to look and feel like you're just gliding on water, and you're just gliding with the wind, and you can just spread your wings and let the wind take you where it wants to take you, right? Where you're just literally being, you know, in the passenger seat while your soul is in the driver's seat, and you don't have to like struggle and strain anymore, or strive to make anything happen, or try to, you know, figure things out, you know, or you have to like overly exert yourself all the time and, you know, hardcore be, you know, balls to the wall kind of energy, right? That sort of fades, at least in my experience. I can only speak from my experience, and more what starts to show up is just effortless flow of, what do I feel like doing right now? And then doing that. And then you're done with that, and then it's like, okay, what do I feel like doing right now? And it's not necessarily that I'm asking myself these questions all the time, but it's more so that just is the energy with which I move. I'm just finding myself flowing, right? And that's where, like, when you start to move from this place of love, and love being your new set point, love being your guiding force, your guiding principle through which you lead your life, through which the lens through which you're looking through your life, it becomes this energy of transformation, and things that used to be hard starts to dissipate, and people and difficult people that were there in your life, they either change and their energy shifts to match yours, because you're a vibrational being and you can only attract that which you are a match to. And that either starts to change, or you move and they move, or it just starts to be, your life becomes a little bit more harmonious, right? It's not all cookies and rainbows, right? There are still things that arise and challenges, and, you know, you're still having human moments, but instead of 99% of your day, or, you know, 80% of your day, you're in fear, lack, scarcity, or, you know, self-judgment or whatever. Instead of that, you're more so in this place of inner knowing, stillness, peace, calm, connection to who you truly are, connection to your divinity, right? Moment to moment, you're making decisions from a place of inner knowing of who you truly are, versus, you know, what should I do now? You know, that kind of energy. So I hope this is helpful. This is definitely something I've been wanting to share for a while, because I feel like it's definitely deeper and higher states of consciousness, and not everybody is necessarily ready for this level of awareness. But for those of you who do resonate, you know, drop me a comment in the comments below and let me know, you know, what part, ooh, my ears are ringing. Let me know what part of the message you resonate with. And as always, flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't. Because you are divine. You are a divine being, and your soul knows exactly what you've come to explore, experience, and dive into while on this planet. So remember, if you are looking for more help and guidance in creating your divine life and or business, definitely hit me up at divinearthschool.com/call to book a call and see if one of my programs is a good fit for you as far as enrolling. And either way, I hope this has been helpful. And remember, what you conceive is what you'll receive. What you expect is what you'll get. And however you feel is what will become real for you. So vibrate higher. And I will chat with you guys later. Ashe. Well, thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for joining me. I'm so glad that this resonates. For sure, for sure. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, the rest of your weekend, and I will chat with you guys soon. Peace, love, and light. Ashe.